Hey gang, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of the Fishing Teacher, and much appreciated you guys making a little time out of your day to check today's video out. Today we're going to be talking about reel speeds or reel ratios, whatever you want to call them, as far as how much line that a reel takes up when you retrieve it like this, and going to give you guys some tips and advice on what you need to know about that. Might help you guys catch a few more fish. Real quick guys, before we get started here, just wanted to give you guys a quick reminder about our Fish the Moment summer lake map breakdowns. It's getting to be into early part of summer coming up around the corner, and at fishthemoment.com we have our lake map breakdowns for all the major lakes across the country for the summer. If we don't have one on the website, you can book a virtual lesson with us and we can go over it on that. So I'll put the Fish the Moment lake map breakdown, a link in the description. That's a good way to get some good spots real quick there, so much appreciated. Okay guys, reel speed, reel ratio. Now, here's the thing about this. It's like back when I started fishing, there was a very limited amount of different reel speeds that you had. Most of them were like 4.3 to 1, something like that. That was common. 3.7 to 1, 4 something to 1. Very, very slow speed ratio. So if you had to, in order, say for example, you know, if you were throwing a crankbait and you were reeling it like this is a 7 to 1 here. You're reeling a 7 to 1 like this. You'd have to reel a 4.3 to 1, you know, like that to probably get the same speed out of it. So there's a big advantage to different gear ratios with that. And then as the years progressed, reels started getting faster. And I can remember back in the late 1980s, Daiwa, they came out with a 7 to 1. And everybody said, oh my God, I can't believe, why would you ever need a 7 to 1 ratio? People thought that was unheard of. And now they have like 8 and 9 to 1s. So 7 to 1 is pretty much middle of the road anymore for that. So there's so many different ratios now. You've got everything out there from 5 to 1, 6.3 to 1, 7 to 1, 7.5s, 8s, 9s. It's really intimidating. It really is, guys. So I'm gonna make it simple for you because I'm gonna tell you guys what I do. I use one ratio for everything. This is a 7 to 1 right here. And I use it for everything. And the reason I do that, there's two different reasons. Number one is I didn't want to get caught up in the rat race of having to have 20 different reel ratios laying around my tackle room. And number two, I know exactly how much line and how fast I need to retrieve the handle on every single lure category because it's the same. It's like when I pick this up, I got the same feel every time. I'm taking up the exact amount of line every time I turn the handle. And if I go jumping around to different ratios, there's a difference in feel with that every single time. So I don't want to have to mess with that. And here's about the only advantage or disadvantage like that. The only advantage is if you're using a 7 to 1 and say you're fishing a bait like a big deep diving crankbait, something that has a lot of pull to it, and you need a reel with a little bit more torque. Yeah, a 7 to 1, you simply don't have the torque with it, and you got to reel it really slow. Whereas with like a 5.3 to 1, you could reel it more of a moderate pace and have a little bit better feel on it. Same with like some big giant baits, like the big glide baits and stuff like that. But for the amount of time that I throw those lure categories versus the feel that I get with staying with just one, I just make do. If I have to throw a big deep diving crankbait, I just deal with it the way it feels. So it's not a big deal to me. So the big advice I would give you guys from all my years experience, don't get caught up in it. Don't get sucked into thinking you've got to have 4 or 5 different reel ratios for 4 or 5 different techniques. Just stick with one, and I would highly suggest a 7 to 1, and just get a feel for how that feels with every lure that you use. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents worth on it, guys. Hope it helps out. We'll talk later.